Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Seagull Automatic reference 819936099. This watch is available from Seagull official store on AliExpress for €201. So firstly, let's look at the box that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items one gets with the piece. So the watch comes in a watch box which is protected by this blue cardboard outer sleeve which one removes. This is the watch box itself. One removes the lid, and as you can see there's a shelf inside one removes, and that contains the comprehensive owner's instruction manual. Clear concise diagrams. The instructions are in English and they're also bilingual, they're translated into Mandarin, and it's a very well crafted and well written comprehensive owner's instruction manual, and it details the operation of the movement use, which is the Seagull caliber ST1701. So as you can see, the watch sits in the base of the watch box inside a foam cutout panel, and it does a good job of protecting the watch in shipping from any damage, so very nice presentation. With regards to the other items, this is the tag that comes with the watch. One also gets this nylon NATO strap, and as you can see, nice weave to the fabric, stainless steel hardware throughout, solid 316L grade stainless steel, mirror polished buckle and tang and mirror polished keepers. The keepers are stitched either side into position to prevent them sliding out of position, flawless stitching throughout, and it's very flexible fabric. It's very thin, feels very soft and supple, plenty of holes to allow for fine tuning the length, and I can confirm it will fit up to an 8-inch wrist. So very high grade of NATO strap, and certainly better quality than the usual straps one gets with low tier watches, so I really like it. And lastly, one also gets this spring bar tool, 2-prong fork at one end, and we have a push pin at the other end, so nice to get this included with the watch. So with regards to the specifications of the piece, this is the Seagull Automatic reference 819936099. We have a 39mm case diameter. We have a lug-to-lug measurement of 48mm, a thickness of 10mm, and a lug width of 20mm. The genuine leather strap is tan colour, and it tapers from 20mm at the lugs down to 18mm at the buckle and tang. And as you can see, nice finishing to the buckle and tang. They've done a very good job of mirror polishing it to a high standard, and it's also signed with a Seagull brand emblem. Good heavy gauge of metal to the solid 316L grade stainless steel, no sharp edges, no burrs. It's a very high quality buckle and tang. 2 keepers on the strap as one would expect. One's fixed and one slides. Flawless stitching to it. I'll show you the underside. Genuine leather, as you can see, it's embossed. Now, minor criticism to the leather strap. We don't have quick release stainless steel spring bars. They've used conventional spring bars, and the problem with this leather strap is it's quite thick, and therefore it's going to be difficult to fit a spring bar tool in between the edge of the leather strap and also in between the lugs. So I would prefer if they had used stainless steel quick release spring bars, because that would negate the need for a spring bar tool and make it easier to change the strap. But having said that, it's perfectly smooth and flat on the underside, plenty of holes in it to allow for fine tuning the length. And although it's a thick strap, it does feel quite soft and supple, and it's got a nice matte suede effect to the top side, so it's very aesthetically pleasing. Same applies to the buckle and tang side, flawless stitching to the top side and underside, no loose stitches, perfectly smooth on the underside, and also nice attention to detail because it's embossed with the Seagull brand logo. So very good quality strap, and I like the fact the leather is flexible despite being thick, so they've clearly used a top grain of leather. I just think it would be better if they had used quick release spring bars. So with regards to the rest of the specification, we have a flat sapphire crystal with clear AR coating on the underside, and the clear anti-reflective coating does an excellent job of reducing the glare and the highly reflective nature of the 3D effect dial. I really like the fact the dial isn't flat. As you can see, if you look at the chaptering, the minute ticks are clearly indexed. It's classic Bauhaus design. It really does have the feel of a German Bauhaus watch, and I think it's a very well executed symmetrical dial. They've placed the 6 o'clock subdial for the seconds in a good position, and I really like the large minute ticks on the chaptering, and also the contrasting white Arabic numerals for the hours, so clearly legible. And if you look at the chaptering, rather than being flat, it's got a domed profile to the chaptering, and it's very aesthetically pleasing. The 6 o'clock subdial is also recessed into the main dial, and it's just a very good looking dial to look at. The baton hands are clearly legible, mirror polished to a good standard, and the proportions are correct. The minute hand nearly extends to the minute ticks, and the hour hand also nearly extends to the white Arabic numerals. So the proportions of the handset are correct, and also the proportions of the 60-second subdial are correct. I like the contrasting orange second hand because it improves the legibility. So it's a very beautiful dial, and I really like the Bauhaus design of it. I think they deserve full credit for a very well executed Bauhaus style design. With regards to the crown, it's solid 316L grade stainless steel, coin edge finished, and as you can see, it's signed with the S for Seagull. So finished to a good standard, low profile, so it's not going to dig into the back of the hand when one flexes the wrist. It's a push-pull crown which provides an effective hermetic seal to 50 meters, which is perfectly acceptable for a daily wear piece. So in the closed position, one can manually wind it to top up the caliber ST1701 to its maximum 40-hour power reserve. Absolute pleasure to manually wind it. One can feel the tension in the mainspring gradually building up. Pulling it out to the first click position is the time setting position. Now the negative of the caliber ST1701 is it does not hack. One cannot hack the movement, so I cannot stop the second hand dead to set the time precisely to the second. I'm now in the time setting position, as you can see, but the second hand continues to run on the 60-second subdial. So this is the main disadvantage of the caliber ST1701. Like the early versions of the Miyota 8215, one cannot hack the movements. Although Miyota have rectified this in subsequent versions, the latest versions of the Miyota 8215 do have hacking. So the ST1701 is based upon its predecessor, the ST16, and the design of the ST16 is very similar to the Miyota 8215. So it's a shame it doesn't have hacking. Pushing it back in restarts the movement, as you can see, and the second hand continues to run continually. So the push-pull crown works very effectively, and 50 meters is perfectly acceptable for a daily wear piece. On the reverse, we have a screw-down stainless steel exhibition case back, beautifully engraved with the specification and the reference number of the piece. Solid stainless steel, mirror polished to flawless standard, and milled slots, have no sharp edges or burrs. Very low profile, and it's glazed with mineral crystal. So the ST1701 is an undecorated movement, as you can see, but we do have milled stripes on the rotor, and we also have milled stripes on the bridges, and they've engraved it with Seagull, so it is nice to look at, although basic. It does look very similar to the Miyota 8215, and that's no surprise because, as I've detailed, the predecessor to this movement, the ST16, is based upon the 8215. So the architecture of both movements are very similar. It does look similar to a Miyota 8215. Now, it's a basic movement, but as you can see, it's good looking to look at due to the milled stripes on the rotor and also the bridges, but they could have further enhanced it with some blued screws or some decoration on the rotor to make it more interesting to look at. But the screw-down exhibition case back is very flat and low profile, and therefore very comfortable and smooth against the wrist, so it's a pleasure to wear it for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. The underside to the head of the piece is well finished, flawless mirror polishing to the underside of the lugs, and it's a very well finished case back and case itself. Right, so I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now, I can just engage the tang in the buckle in the last hole in the strap, but as you can see, it's a fraction too short for my 8-inch wrist. If this were just an inch longer, I could engage the end of the strap in the two keepers, but however, I'm not going to be critical of this because for the majority of collectors with a 6 to 7.5 inch wrist, this strap will suffice. So as you can see, the proportions are outstanding. 39mm head of the piece is perfectly balanced by the 48mm lug-to-lug measurement. They've got the proportions perfect on this because, as you'll know from my previous reviews, I consider 48mm to be the sweet spot. That is the perfect lug-to-lug measurement, regardless of whether you have a 6 to 7 inch wrist or a 7 to 8 inch wrist respectively. 48 really does give a sublime fit. The angular profile to the lugs has a nice taper downwards, and therefore it's a snug fit against the wrist. So it really does capture the essence of Bauhaus design. Both the dial and also the case shape and the lug shape is very minimalist, and therefore Bauhaus design. I really like it. Very comfortable piece to wear because it's only 59 grams on this tan leather strap, so it does feel weightless, it doesn't feel top heavy, it's very well balanced, and therefore very comfortable to wear for long periods such as 8 to 12 hours per day. Now, the feature I most like about this piece is it is incredibly low profile for an automatic. It is only 10mm thick thanks to the flat sapphire crystal and the low profile screw down exhibition case back. 10mm is the kind of thickness one would expect with a 39mm head of the piece if this were quartz powered or alternatively a manual wind mechanical piece, but this is automatic, so it has a rotor and it's very good. Now, they've been able to get the thickness down to 10mm because it only has 50 meters water resistance. If this had 100 meters, it would need a thicker sapphire crystal and a thicker exhibition case back, and I think they've made the correct decision by keeping it to 50 meters in order to reduce the thickness of the sapphire crystal and the exhibition case back down to only 10mm overall. So it's a very low profile piece, and needless to say, it will easily slip underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts. So very comfortable. 59 grams is very nice to wear for long periods. Right, so there's no loom on the dial and hands because it's a Bauhaus style design, so we don't need to do a loom test. So let's discuss the movement used. As I've detailed, the Seagull ST1701 is based upon its predecessor, the Seagull ST16, which the design of comes from the Miyota caliber 8215. It has 20 joules and it runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 3 Hz. 40-hour power reserve is perfectly acceptable. It has hand winding, but the negative is it does not have hacking, as I've detailed. The stated accuracy of the caliber ST1701 is plus or minus 15 seconds per day, so rather wide accuracy range. But however, I'm pleased to report that Seagull are well regulating the caliber ST1701. This one is running consistently at plus 3 seconds per day, which is outstanding accuracy and certainly well within the plus or minus 15 seconds per day stated accuracy. Plus 3 is very good. So it's a reliable, well-proven workhorse movement, and it's very similar in quality to the Miyota 8215, and of course it doesn't have hacking like the early versions of the 8215, and that really is the only negative to it. I think it's a good choice for this piece, but however I would prefer to see a higher grade of Seagull movement because they are capable of making very high quality movements, but the ST1701 is very reliable and there are no QC build quality or material problems with it. It's been in use since 2001, so at this stage in 2022 it has 21 years of usage and there are no reliability issues reported with the ST1701. It's one of their most reliable movements. And I really like it, so I think it's a good quality movement. It's just a shame that it doesn't have hacking. So lastly, I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So €201 is the price point of this piece. Yes, I consider it to be excellent quality, but however, I consider the value to be poor. I think it's expensive for €201, bearing in mind it's powered by the ST1701. At this price point, I would expect a higher grade of Seagull movement. I think that the correct price of this piece would be circa €100, not 201. So the quality is excellent throughout. Build quality, quality control, finishing, materials, and it's absolutely flawless. The specification is good, sapphire crystal with AR coating, and also I like the ST1701, albeit it doesn't have hacking. But really, I think it needs to be €100 or closer to it rather than 201. It's expensive, so excellent quality but poor value. But I'm still going to recommend it to you for consideration because it is a good quality watch overall. So hope you've enjoyed my review of the Seagull Automatic, reference 819936099. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.